Alright, so I'm back with another video on the latest about R. Kelly. First off, shout out to Perez Hilton. I've been following him since I was about 13. It's been about 15-ish years, maybe more, that I've been following him. I adore him. So R. Kelly reportedly engaged to victim Joycelyn Savage following sex trafficking sentencing. And like Perez said, this woman is clearly incredibly in need of healing and strength, and that's absolutely true because, as we know, Joycelyn Savage was and is the victim, one of his victims, of abuse and trafficking. I don't know all the details, but definitely know that she was a huge part of, So let's look at this. So I just want to make this video because I think it's important to point out how deeply ingrained in the abuse and manipulation that women and even men experience at the hands of abusers, essentially. It's very clear to me that, obviously, of course, maybe some people don't know this, so abusers always want to maintain power and control. R. Kelly is now in a helpless situation in prison for, I don't know, how old is this man? For like practically the rest of his life. I mean, 30 years is a long ass time. I don't know if he'll be in there that long. Anyway, point in saying this is he's losing control over his victims and over his life and over his ability to basically continue to perpetrate, right? So like the true predator that he is, I'm sure, of course, he used some manipulative whatever to coax Joycelyn Savage, who is one of his victims, like I said, into engagement. And very sad to see. Very sad to see. He starved these women. He beat these women. He just was sick. He had like multiple women in his house at a time. So I'm going to click on this and see if there's anything in here that we can break down. R. Kelly reportedly engaged. We know that. We did not see this coming. No, I did not see this shit coming. R. Kelly is reportedly engaged to one of the victims. What? Yeah. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Robert, the infamous Gayle King interview. Oh boy. Here we go. First off, just want to point this out, important information to have. He was found guilty of 9 counts of racketeering and sex trafficking, including 8 counts of violating the Mann Act, which prohibits the transport of any woman or girl across state lines for any immoral purpose. She began, "My name is Joycelyn Savage, and I'm Robert Kelly's fiancée. I'm writing this letter in support of Robert in advance of his sentencing so I can explain to the court that I'm not the victim that the government has portrayed me to be." Oh, man. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. My relationship with Robert is amazing. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. We have a very special connection and are deeply in love. I still support Robert to this day because I love him and will always be here to support him. Robert is not the monster that the government has described him to be. The Robert I know is very sweet, gentle, and kind. At the end of the day, he has always made sure that I'm taken care of, and any other women he was with as well. Oh, man. Continued on a rave. Yeah, rave review. Robert's an all-around incredible person. He loves his music and is very passionate about that. So, first red flag I see here, people. If somebody is as great as you're claiming, why are you having to repeat that over and over and over again? I mean, I get it. I think was this, note sent on June 13th, But, let's see. He loves his music and is very passionate about that. He's positive, outgoing, and very generous. He always takes any opportunity he can to help those in need. He's very determined and focused on his goals, and things that have been said about him with me and other women being held against our will is absolutely untrue. It's the complete opposite of who he is and what my relationship is like with Robert. Okay, notice, I don't know if you will, but I'm going to point it out. So, victims, after so long of being with an abuser, get so deep into it that they essentially start manipulating themselves. So if you read this, do you notice she does not once say, she says he's not the monster, she says he's sweet, gentle, and kind, but have you noticed that, she said, I'm not the victim. Nowhere in here does she state that she has not been abused by him, that she has not been starved by him. She only raves about his supposedly incredible character when we all saw, and this is not to smear him at all, but if you see the interview with Gayle King, it is very, very clear that there are mental health issues going on there. And on top of it, he molested a child. So this is very manipulative because this might be true. Here's the thing, guys. Abusers are not shitty all of the fucking time. If they were, people wouldn't be around them, right? My point in saying this is she's manipulating us and manipulating herself by pointing out all of the things that are positive about him. Well, he does love his music. He is passionate about it. He's positive, outgoing, and very generous. That might be true. He might help people in need. Lots of abusers come off in public or come off to other people as kind and generous. It's how they cover up their truly abusive nature that takes place at home. It's part of the facade that they create, and this is a part of the facade that she's maintaining for him. Wow, this is so sad. He's very determined and focused on his goals, and the things that have been said about him with me and other women being held against our will is absolutely untrue. That part. So again, she didn't say anything about the abuse. She didn't say he didn't starve us, he didn't beat us. She didn't deny that he beat her with a shoe and then did all, you name it. But he didn't hold them against their will. Okay. And that's the only thing she's willing to say is that, I wasn't being held against my will, because I'm guessing that somewhere deep down inside of her, not even deep down, I'm so sorry, because deep down she knows the truth, but somewhere inside of her, she actually believes that that's true. She actually somehow has become so manipulated that she essentially believes that now, and this is Stockholm syndrome, so I'll point that out. She now believes that, I'm not being held against my will, because I'm guessing not I'm guessing, let me restate that. Because initially, he was, because, well, I'm going to Google this in a second because I'm not positive if they were minors. I don't know all the deets, but I will Google that in a second. But, yeah, if they were minors, then yes, what he was doing, you know, exploiting you sexually and shit like that, just to, whatever, introduce you into supposedly the industry. Gee, that never happened. Isn't that interesting or ironic? Yeah, because it was a grooming tactic. And the fact that she can't even see that part. It's like, chick, you didn't even get to where he was manipulating you into thinking you were getting by being in a relationship with him. Do you not realize that? Like, you've just become his fiancée. I mean, and it's sad that, again, the lack of self-esteem, especially after years and years of abuse, is so tarnished that these women will, and men, will go to great lengths if they get far enough in it to vouch for these predators. And so I think it's interesting that because if you're a minor, you know, and you're being exploited sexually, that is being held against your will, it's being raped, it's being, you know, you're not really having a say there. You're not able to, you're not mature enough, you're not, your brain's not developed enough, etc. So what I'm looking at, like, this is more manipulation of, like, again, over time, she's gotten so accustomed to the abuse and so accustomed to being with him that usually over time what happens is that the victim, again, develops Stockholm syndrome where they end up developing a connection with the abuser because they've been with the abuser for so long, and it's a way that they've utilized to essentially survive. And it sounds like she's so far in deep with this that it's like, yeah, she's definitely deep in denial and influenced by manipulation here. Just as she has done in past years, or in years past, Joycelyn claimed the narrative surrounding her relationship with, has not been told accurately. Robert and I are deeply in love, and it breaks my heart that the government has created a narrative that I'm a victim. I'm a grown woman and can speak for myself, which is why I wanted to provide this letter to the court. Interesting. Okay, so we just got the information I was asking for. She was just barely an adult when she first met R. Kelly as a 19-year-old. Okay, so she wasn't a minor. Let's see. Oh. Okay. Okay, yeah. So she was 19, so not a minor. But either way, I mean, it might be partially true because she, you know, obviously you don't recognize that the abuser is an abuser when you first meet them. So again, it could be like a manipulative twist on that aspect of things. But again, notice she has not stated anywhere that he has not abused her. Let's see. I respectfully ask that the court take my words into consideration when sentencing Robert. He is a great man with a great heart and deserves to be home with his loved ones who are ready to support him. Yeah, it's... Ooh. She's just laying it on too thick. It's way too obvious. Like, it's way, way obvious that it's a lie. I mean, how many times... Like, that's the biggest red flag. I'll say this. Don't ever listen to someone's words. Only listen for shit like this, in terms of, like, if somebody's repeating over and over again how great of a person they are, they're probably not that great of a person. Why do I say that? Great people don't have to tell you they're great. They just show you. He has not shown the world. Yeah.